I wanted to give this a knowledge on the uh, ఎంతమంది వస్తుంది లాస్ట్ లేదా ఏంటి ఈరోజు షో ఫుల్ అయింది ఎస్క్యూఎల్ అంత సీన్ లేదు సార్ అంత అభిమానం అస్సలు లేదు సార్ అందుకే ఓకే నేను కూడా ఇంత ఫుల్ షో ఫస్ట్ టైం చేస్తున్నాను ఓకే సార్ కొద్దిగా సైలెన్స్ ప్లీజ్ సైలెన్స్ ప్లీజ్ సైలెన్స్
Sorry, but
that's it. Sir, close the door, sir. Okay, sir. Fine. So as I said, right, this is going to be like a couple of sessions. It's not going to be in a single session, right? So please try to be patient. The next Saturday also, it is going to be continue this session. Clear, sir? Okay. So if anyone have any questions or any queries, right? So just raise your hands. You don't need to worry. Think about yourself. Don't think about others. Correct answer? No? Right? So please think about yourself. If you does not understand any technical terminology, what it is, anything, sir, just think about yourself and then please ask me. I can help you on this. Clear? Today is I never seen this many people. First time, sir. First time. First Saturday, this many people. Right? So anyhow, Monday is a holiday, right? Huh? That something Telangana Formation Day, something is there, right? So Monday is holiday. So, sir, listen to me, sir. First, listen to me, sir. Okay, so maybe you guys have like after this day, you guys going to have 45, not 48. It's more than that, right? So in that like 48 hours, let's say assume it. So in the 48 hours, if you guys have any question regarding this session on your respective batches, tag me and add a question. I can help you. Clear? Anytime, like even midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, because bachelors always get motivated at that time only. Most of the time, I know that's a true, sir. We need to accept it because the realizations and some what do we call them? I don't know. So bachelors, mostly boys, will get at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. After half an hour, they will shut down it and then they'll go for sleep. అక్కడ ప్లేస్ లేదు ఫస్ట్ ఓకే ఫైన్ ఒక పని చేయండి, అక్కడ ప్రొజెక్టర్ ఆన్ చేసి ఆన్లైన్ ఒకరు జాయిన్ చేసి అక్కడ ప్రొజెక్టర్ ఆన్ చేసి మిగతా వాళ్ళని అక్కడికి వచ్చి అక్కడ స్క్రీన్ షాట్ చేసి పెట్టండి. నన్ను చూడాల్సిన అవసరం ఏం లేదు కదా, టాపిక్ చదివితే చాలా. ఓకే, సో అండర్స్టూడ్ నా సార్? The plan is very simple. If you guys have any questions on this, right? So you can message me on the group at any point of time, especially midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock is also fine. Anyhow, most of the time bachelors will sleep at 1:30 or 2 o'clock, I believe. So especially which is are in the PGs, right? So you guys can message it. If I'm awake, I can definitely respond it. If not, I can respond it morning 5 or 6 o'clock. So let's have a discussion. So today is what we said, the Python with the database. So first of all, what we need to understand, what is a Python? What is a Python, sir? I hope everyone knows about it. What is a? It's a programming language. What is a programming language, sir?
It helps to solve problems.
What is a programming language, sir? Maybe. I will stand, sir. You guys can see me very well. What is a programming language, sir? Tell me, sir. What is a programming language, sir? Set of instructions. Set of instructions to whom?
A set of instructions to the computer to execute the code is a programming
It's not a
language.
communication. That we call them as high-level language.
Sir, someone is answering in the online. Hello?
Correct, right? There is a programming language, again, like a divided as high-level language, low-level language, machine code, right? So a lot of things are there. So whatever you are going to be use the language as a human, that's a high-level language. Correct, right? Most of the programming languages are in English. Means I can say that is a high-level language. I'm not asking that is. So these instructions to whom we are going to give it? Processor. Correct, right? The processor. Nowadays, we are not calling this one as a processor. We are calling everyone as compute power. What is that? Compute power. So in the cloud terminology, compute power means what is that, sir? RAM, processor, storage, bandwidth. These four things we are going to call them as compute power. So this compute power, any point of time can be scaled it up and scaled down. That's what we are seeing in nowadays in our lives, right? So I can clearly say this 2011 before and 2011 after. The reason this revolution has been brought by this, the most beautiful company called Amazon, right? In 2011, they started this AWS. They started for a storage perspective, but the innovation has changed totally because the people have facing a lot of issues to maintaining your programs, especially with the data handling. That's what we are calling as the databases, right? So this is having a lot of issues in the real time and security issues. And let's say in the IT world, who is the biggest culprit means IT employees. Who is the biggest culprit means IT employees. Because who developed that application, that guy knows all the loopholes. That's a true thing, right? Let's say that I remember like 8 years back, there's a Zomato issues came. I think you guys have heard about it or not. Entire Zomato users data leak is happened. Users information is the most precious one, correct, right? So any company, especially nowadays, any startups as have a thing major asset is data. Correct, right? This data leak is happened with the Zomato. Who did it that? That database guy itself. Why he did it? Because he had a fight with his manager. He had a fight with his manager regarding about the hike. So what kind of a hike is expected? He's expected 60%, manager is given 6%. So he given a reason also. There is a big story will be there. You guys can read it on this online. So it's a very simple. The guy is doing what he's need to do the job. That's it. He's not done any extraordinary job. He's not improved by himself. On the day one when he joined, what he have the skills on the day of 365 means 1 year, right? So in a 1 year, same skill, and whatever he's doing the same job on day one, he's doing the same job on day 365. Obviously, no company or in IT side, especially in private sectors, if you're same like in a 1 year, no progress on yours means no much hikes. Correct, right? You cannot expect much. Like that's how 6%, 3%, 5%, even this 5%, 6% after again income tax and all the stuff, deductions, right? So salary deduction, some parts will be go. Finally, it is around like 1,000 rupees or 600 rupees will increase per month. Obviously, it's frustrated. Obviously, that guy is frustrated. He sold that data just for 1,200 rupees. He sold it especially on the social media for 1,200 rupees. Let's imagine, right? The Zomato valuation now, how much it is. Let's say 8 years back ago, also, the Zomato valuation is, it's a good, decent, right? It's doing a decent job, right? So that time they released almost like it's a 1 billion users data. 1 billion users data that guy sold just for 1,200 rupees because of this conflict with the manager, right? So that's how, this is why I'm saying this example here. But that guy is currently is in a Sri Krishna Janmasthalam. Correct, right? That is what the Sri Krishna Janmasthalam. And his entire BTech, all the certificates has been seized. Its graduation certificates are seized. He cannot get into the IT world again, means the technology side he cannot. So, but that's a different matter. That's what the issue. His something is still in a Bangalore somewhere else, right? So he's in some currently he's got some bail and he's roaming on the Bangalore itself. So just giving an idea. So these kind of incidents are very common in IT. So there's a Zomato is a big company and in India is the biggest startup. I hope everyone knows it. So that's how we got this news is out. Correct, right? So similarly, like a lot of companies are facing the biggest challenge here, it is data. So to overcome this, people are come up with the solution, especially this AWS is started giving that. And after that, 2012, Azure is came from a Microsoft. So these guys are like competitors, obviously, but they are trying to give like a proper encrypted support on the data side without having like even the change of deployment, you can say there's a even the developed guy even can't able to access that data. The developed or who's developing or who's maintaining, those guys are never going to have an access to the production. So that lot of changes has happened because of after the 2011. Before 2011, I can simply say is this, everything has been either on premises or in the data centers. On premises or data centers. I hope you guys have heard about some word about the data centers. Correct, right? Anyone? No? In English movies, they will show, at least English movies, big servers, right? So that's kind of a rack servers. We call them as rack servers. Each server is a one box, right? So it was there that time. It's a very expensive. It's a fixed cost. Monthly we have to pay. There's a fixed cost, and it's a very it's a kind of in the IT side, the client is also facing a lot of issues But after the 2011, thanks to AWS and Azure, they changed this methodology, and then they give an opportunity to work with anyone, even this a non-technical guy can able to access this AWS and Azure platforms. They can create by themselves a server by their own. It's not like I believe like rather than your Snapchat, Instagram, the dating apps, AWS and Azure platforms are easy. Because for me, I don't know, maybe opposite, because you may be like this in social medias very well, but I can say that simply, right? So rather than the social medias, these platforms are made very easy, because we can say again the thanks to this UI UX developers who developed that websites called AWS console and Azure consoles. Just you can simply click on one button in a fraction of seconds, like almost like 56 seconds in AWS, the server will be created, including installing your operating system on that server. Server means computer. Server means computer. A normal computer and a server, what is the difference? Server is a, it doesn't matter. It does not matter over the internet. It not be in the network. It's very simple. A remote computer, it is going to be like a remote computer. It can able to take a request from anyone or a limited people or private group. It's going to take the request. That request will process it and then return back the response. That computer, we are going to call it here, it is server. That is also a simple computer, right? That is not something else, right? So that is also computer. Just imagine once we buy the laptop, we are going to be install the operating system. That guy will take at least 20 to 30 minutes, and then the 300 rupees or 400 rupees will take it. Am I correct? Correct, right? But did you guys or anyone try to install by yourself? No, sir. That's a very risky, sir. Correct, no? Right? So coming back here. So, but here, just imagine in a 56 seconds, it's going to be set up your server, means set up your computer, internet, public access, and networking and protocols, firewalls, installing the operating system inside. Everything will happen in a 56 seconds. That is the highest record from the AWS. But Azure side, they are limit little higher. It's a 1 minute, 12 seconds. 1 minute, 12 seconds that their history. So this is why I'm giving an idea, because uh, the applications or a programming languages, whatever we using this word, right? So all these are one place we need to execute, that we are calling as a computer, right? So where we can able to write it, the program as an instructions. That instruction is going to be evaluated by the processor, but to evaluate it by the processor, we require the either compiler or interpreter, because our processors never going to be understand the high level language. It can understand only the ones and zeros, ones and zeros. So that is the reason we require a place somewhere else the people wants to be, right? So let's say some guys builded a web application, some guy builded a mobile application, some guy builded a desktop application, some guy builded a TV application, right? So this is again 2011. Before, for every platform, people are using a different languages and different compilers, different interpreters, and everything is a different. That's how we calling at the time is native languages. Native languages. Now the changed, the tradition has been changed. Everything is came into this hybrid. Everything into hybrid and microservice pattern. So what is mean by hybrid? Hybrid means here it's very simple. Write a single source code, work with multiple platforms. Write a single source code and work with the multiple platforms. Why I'm telling this is because this is what the trending technology, or I can say not a technology, methodology, how this implementation is happening. Because we never imagine the TV is also going to become a computer. Correct, right? Now, mobile is also one type of a computer. Correct, right? Similarly, TVs also we never believe it is going to be. Now, all our smart TVs, right? We can install an app, we can able to run, and then we can connect it to internet, right? So anyone is believe that? No. There's a changing. Now, smart watches. Now, recently, 10 days back ago, the Meta Ray-Ban, they introduced in the glasses also. Smart glasses. Anyone heard about it? Right? Right? So they launched the smart in India. In Indian market, they launched it. Right? So let's imagine the glasses also changing. Means the wherever the possibility we are trying to be introduced our compute power. Simple, I can say that. Because of the technology is changing, hardware is changing. Whenever the hardware is changing, the people are going to be expect the program. Program is here, it is common. So that's how Python is become a most popular reason. Python is a part of the operating system now, except Windows. Except Windows. Except Windows, if you consider any operating system, Python is a part of it. Python is part of it. If you take Linux, if you take Android, iOS, Mac OS, right? Mac laptop, we don't need to install the Python. By default, it will be there. Only we are going to be install extra which one? IDE. Correct, right? So that's our intention is because we are addicted to GUIs. Correct? Graphical user interfaces we addicted because we can understand very well by using a GUI. But in a production environment, we are never going to have a GUI. All are non-GUI in a production environment. Right? So this is what it's happened. Means the Python is nowadays is become the hybrid programming language. It works with any platform, right? So which are the some of the operating systems are not going to be supported in that Windows. I can say that we need to install separately to support it, but expecting on Windows 12, they are giving a support in the sooner because the release is there, means they mentioned in their officially they mentioned in the Windows 12 is a drastic change is going to be happen in that they are including the Python because the Windows 12 is going to come up with the Copilot. Already we have a Copilot on Windows 11, but this Copilot is Windows 12 is a game changer. The first, I can say this first AI operating system commercially, right? So Windows is a commercial operating system. I hope you everyone knows it, but we using everyone is pirated operating system on our laptops. But officially it is a per annum how much? 6,000 change it will be there. Correct, right? So that's what, correct, right? So now coming back, so in Windows 12, we can able to see then Windows is launched. Python is going to be like one of the biggest and the toppest in the coming years, the programming language than the JavaScript. Now currently is a JavaScript or Python. They are like first or second, like every month they are comparison is happening. Some month is a JavaScript, another month is going to be Python, like this it's happening. But this is what is happening in a real time. So in a Windows 12 is launched with the Python. Now Python is going to be the toppest language in the market. So because this is a very easiest, you guys already known it. I don't need to tell all this about it. What is the Python and all the stuff. This is why I'm telling. So don't take a light the Python. This is the most of the why I'm telling all this reason. Don't take the Python and you guys knows it or not. For a kids on 6th class, they have a Python language. The CBSE curriculum or IB board, if you guys go there, you guys can see that the 6th class kids also have a Python. So that's how today I'm taking this a Python application, right? So I cannot say this is a web application or mobile application. I'm not talking about. We know that Python is a backend language. Python is a backend language. What is mean by backend language? What is a UI? Okay, can't we use the Python in as a UI? Huh? Streamlit is a library. Streamlit is a package of the UI components and Python. Streamlit is little different. Now, what is mean by backend, sir? Or someone used the word server. So which language is able to create server? That language we can call it as here it is backend language. It's very simple. JavaScript does not have that. So that's how it is combined with another library. They call it as Node.js. They call it as Node.js. So, but a plain vanilla JavaScript is going to be like a pure printed, means it is going to be executed on a particular platform. Where it is can executed? Browser. Right? In a browser, only 3 languages will be executed. What are those 3 languages? HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Right? So that's Chromium. We call them as Chromium. So that Chromium, it is going to be happen. These 3 languages have a ability. So the Chromium is become an open source. That's how we can able to run the JavaScript as a desktop application, JavaScript as a web application or backend application. All this thing is happening because of the Chromium. Right? So now coming back into this. Python, whenever you are trying to be run as an application, it can run with the processor and it can able to have a ability to directly work with the database connections, or it can have a ability to connect with the other languages. Let's say I can able to Python to Java, Python to .NET, Python to another language. Yes, that's how we calling here nowadays is microservices. Microservices. In microservices, every service is going to be have a different language. This is a new terminology or new thing we are trying to be using on the development side, because let's say a file upload, file handling with the Python is very difficult because the memory issue will come. We call them as memory heap issue, right? That rather than if I use the Java for handling the file, Java is a faster than the Python. Still, Java is a faster than the Python. So means handling the file uploading and reading from the data from a files, it's become a faster than the Python, right? But the Python, you can go and say in the current market, everyone say this, the mother of AI, everyone will say that. Correct, right? Why? It's very simple. The reason the community made like that. Whatever you guys are saying, like all the libraries or modules for AI side or data science side, which is available, all are built by the community. Built by the community because the Python is very easiest language, right, to create a libraries. So where we can able to get the libraries, sir, for Python packages? What's the platform? Using PYPI. PYPI. Python package index. So the Python package index is going to be contains all the published libraries where you can able to download it with the help of pip. Download it with the help of pip. Pip is just a kind of a small software which is going to be connected to the PYPI and then try to download it or try to remove it or try to update it. This kind of a management can be happen with the help of pip. Pip is a kind of a bridge here. Pip is a bridge tool between our local machine and the PYPI. Similarly, for JavaScript side also, they have one thing. What is that? NPM. Node package manager. Java also have the same thing, Maven, right? So like every language, they have like some package indexing repositories. We call them as repositories because they're the packages or a source code or a library is going to be maintained by with the help of versions, with the versions. So can I say this? What is the version of your Python language? 3.13. Why 3.13 only? Okay, so someone's laptop is 3.10, someone's laptop is 3.12, right? So why is a different? Correct, right? Obviously, it's a different. Correct or not? So let's say I can say this 3.x. Correct, sir? 3.x. So this 3.x version is have like what is that? Every version is going to be improve that or add a new features onto the Python program. Correct, right? So similar that all the things is maintained by this repositories. Versions maintained. We call them as version repositories. This package repositories or package index repositories are helping us to maintain easily. Right? So that's what is going to be happen. Clear. Good. So in our computer, can we maintain multiple Python versions? Huh? Which environments? What we call environment? You cannot call the Python environment. Virtual environment. We call them as virtual environment. So let's have some idea about it, sir. So before starting small basics, I'm going to be have it here. Right. So first of all, let's try to understand what is a network. What is a network, sir? It's very simple, sir. A group. I can say a group. Correct, right? We call it as even in our real life, what we call them as a group. That's right. The people who are doing the business or going for a sales, marketing, how much network do you have? Because everything based on that only. That's right. They can get the sales or leads. How can they get it? Then connect or referrals or friends, or someone they are trying to get it. There's a connection. It's a connection. But this network is between the computers. The computer means not only laptops, it can be your mobile, including your router also one of the computer here. Because router have the ability to connect the network. And also it's have another create a hub, network hub. Correct, right? So previously we have modems and like this, it's there. Now this we are using a routers. Lot of changes happen. Now we have in the router have a web application inside also. Correct, right? Can we access the router? 192.168.1.1 or 192.168.0.1. So there it is going to have a web application. Means let's imagine a small device. The router is how much? It's a small device also running a application. That's in Python. That's in the Python. Means the router also have a Python. The router also have a Python, HTML, CSS program. Whenever you request it, it is going to be returned back. So the router is going to be create a network. Whenever you connect it, every computer is going to be have a private IP address. And also, whenever you are trying to browsing any activity with that router or you're trying to send it to this, everything will create a log also on the router. Correct now? It will be great. So that's how we can watch it. Okay, how many times you guys can watch the Netflix, how many times YouTube, everything we can go into know that. And also some companies, they are going to block that YouTube. When you type it, it's never going to come. So which one is going to be restricted? Router. In a router, we are going to be set up the firewall security saying that when the request, don't send it to the ISP. Don't send it to the ISP. ISP means internet service provider, right? It is going to be blocked and then show this, the service is not available, or 404 something, it's going to be show us. Correct, right? So that's what the network is going to be help us to, right, have it. So this is to access it generally in a browser, right? One computer to another computer to access, we are going to be use this a private network or public IP address. Either you can use the private IP address or public IP address on your browser, then you can able to access it. But we are humans, right? Very bad with the numbers. Very bad with the numbers. We're never going to remember even our girlfriend numbers. So that's the reason what is happens. Domain name system is came. DNS is there in the market. So that's how all is word basis. All thing is word basis. So now that word is going to be converted end of the day as IP address to server. Means every computer is going to have either the private IP address and public IP address. The public IP address is have an internet or not is going to be controlled by the your router. Correct, right? I can block you connected to router, but on your computer only, I'm not going to allow the internet. But I can able to connect this, which computers are connected to that router. I can able to access any computer if I connected to that router. Correct, right? That we call them as subnetwork. We call them as subnetwork. In the subnetwork, we are going to be used currently everyone. Previously, we are calling as a LAN. Now we are calling as WAN. WAN, WAN, we are calling here. So now let's see, that's what. So set of rules for formatting and processing the data, we are going to be call it as protocol. On the network, what we are going to say, set of rules of for formatting and processing the data, we are going to call them as protocol. So nothing but this is a language between the computers. There's a language, like how the humans is going to have the language. So this is a language between the computers, protocols, right? So if I wanted to be send the request to this another computer, it is going to be in the form of protocols only. Every protocol is going to have a port number. Every protocol is going to have a port number. So like if I go to the temple is going to have a queue. 100 rupees for one queue, 200 rupees for one queue, 1000 rupees is special queue, 10,000 rupees no queue, direct entry. Correct, na, sir? Right? So how the queue management system will be there? This port number, this is a generally it is not on the hardware side. This is on the software side, which is going to be help us generally in the software side. Port or channel, we can going to call them as this channel is going to be help us to send this request. When the requests are increased more, or if it's have more than this, based on their parallel threading, how much their capacity, remaining requests are vended to the queue management system. So at the time, still the website or mobile app showing as loading, because your request is not processed by your other or sended, which computer you are sended, which is located can be Singapore, Australia, US, wherever it is still not yet processed. So that's how it's still going to be loading process. Until unless it get the response, we are never going to, it's a browser is going to show the loader itself. Correct, right? So that's what we call them as server is busy. Server is busy. So that mechanism is going to be maintained by these ports or channels. Ports are channels. So here we have a range is going to be there as a numbers. Here the kept it as a numbers from 0 to you can have 25,565 something is there. That is what when you have a 32-bit, now it's a 64-bit. Now sorry, previously means 1 year back ago it's a 64-bit only. Now in the market we have it 128-bit operating systems. right? So we are not buying yet, but still in the market we have 128-bit operating system. It started from a last year. It's a little expensive. It comes around like cost like 4 to 5 lakhs. Let's see this in the coming years. It's maybe in a couple of years, it's going to come down to 1 or 1.5. Then we can start buying very easily on this. So whenever these bits of information, like when this operating system or this computer support has been increases, our range is going to be increases. Our range is going to be increases. But we don't require for a personal or for a programming side, 64-bit is most sufficient. We don't require that much of effectively. But if you go with the 128, it's like it's a super faster. It's like a super faster, means you can say this a mini supercomputer. A mini supercomputer, we can able to say this. Let's say, wait for some more years. Let's say how it is going to be turn it out. So now coming back to our point. So this channels is going to be help us to process or send our request and receive the response is going to be happen. So this is the most important, sir. This port numbers. This port number sometimes is going to be blocked, or this port number is never opened. Let's say simple example, right? In a temple, the queue is not open, or you guys went for circus. The circus, the gate is not open. Means what is that means? They are allowing inside? No. Or you guys went to cinema hall. There is a balcony. Okay, single screen. In a single screen, we have a balcony, correct, right? And next, some 80, 100 rupees, 80 rupees, 40 rupees, like this, it will be there. So they are going to open everything at a time? No. In my village, they are never going to be. First, they will open balcony, then 100, then like this, they will open. Because once they filled it, no one is going to be. This 20 rupees guy never going to be enter into the 80 rupees. Correct, right? That's where it is going to be happen. So means here also we can able to protect, or we don't want it to be take the request from someone, or I don't want it to be processed at all, then I can close that request by closing this port number. By closing this port number means disabling. Simply in a terminal technology, here we are going to say this, disable the port number. When I say disable, then the port is closed. It never going to be received the request. Or else I can going to say to my channel, so whenever the request is came, please check that computer MAC address or that computer IP address. Because the packets is going to have that information, right? So whenever the data transmission is happening, because sending a request is also going to have a packets. That packets is contains is a combination of your computer information plus data. Correct? It's a chunked information. So this chunked information is attached with your identity, computer identity. So from which IP address this request is come and which MAC address it is, everything is attached to this packet. So now this packet has to be allowed or not. We are going to be put a validation saying that we are saying that either by using a MAC address or by using a IP address. Generally, we call them as whitelist. We are called as whitelist. So when you whitelisted, only the request is going to be processed from that computers only. So that's what is going to be happen. That's what we are going to be seeing very regularly. That's a very useful feature to protect our data. To protect our data. So different protocols for different type of process. Best example, let's take a HTTP. You guys are already known about it. I don't need to tell what is a HTTP. Correct, right? What is the port number for that? Huh? Sir, HTTP, sir. Sir, మాకు అవన్నీ తెలియదు సార్. బ్రౌజర్ ఓపెన్ చేసినామా, యూఆర్ఎల్ కొట్టామా, వాట్ ఇస్ సార్, వెబ్సైట్స్ ఓపెన్ చేసినామా, రైట్? In other words, we install the VPN iBomma na movie rules lo movie చూసామా కరెక్టేనా ఇక్కడ almost I believe like most of these hostel guys knows about iBomma or movie rules. Correct, right? But they never understand what is a VPN. They'll install the VPN. They ask you to install it. You guys are going to install the VPN. The VPN is going to have a keylogger. Do you guys know that what is a keylogger? In US, especially parents will use this software. So to understand what their kids are doing on the tab or a computer, because they are going to give a computers from their childhood. I hope you guys knows it, everyone. Correct, right? So they are going to be a parental control, because simply we can call it as parental control. In the parental control, we are going to be use which one? This keylogger. So what they are typing, even if you open incognito mode also, it doesn't matter. It's work with directly with the hardware by using a concept called keystroke. Concept called keystroke. Keystroke means up and down. Up and down. Every keystroke is going to have some frequency on the hardware side. It is going to be capture what you type it. That is going to be stored on the keylogger as a log. Without understanding, what you guys will do, simply connect the VPN. Once you connected VPN, if you open your personal Facebook, Instagram, or net banking, you will say my account is hacked. Correct, right? Whenever you started typing, that typing is going to be stored on the keylogger. Right? I was using very well the keylogger to protect like bachelors, right? When we are in the bachelors, whenever the personal laptops we kept it on the room, the other people are using when we went to office. I don't want it to be, because why we need to give our laptops to someone? Obviously. So what we are going to do, I wanted to understand what they are doing on that laptop. So what I'm doing, who's are using my laptop? Whatever they open, whatever they type it is going to be stored on my keylogger. And then I can able to access their Gmail, access to their Facebook, I can see their personal messages. I understood, okay, it's very interesting stuff. And started giving this laptop to all my, which is girl friends. Right? So means which are in the college. They, without knowing, they started typing. What is happens? Their Gmail and password is came. So that at the time they don't have a two-step. At that time there is a concept called two-step verification. So that's where we were accessing in the college time itself, we are accessing everyone's. So because at the time laptop, a student have a laptop is a big issue, means big thing. Right? So at the time itself, we know that how the keyloggers will work. It's very interesting. If I'm giving a laptop means definitely I need to understand what these guys need to do. Very interesting stuff, right? There's a software called keylogger. Who have your enemy, or you wanted to take some revenge on them, give a laptop, because they wanted free Wi-Fi. If you give a hotspot, they definitely use it. When they started opening their Facebook, Instagram, you will know their passwords. Done. That's right. So that's all. Be careful with this. So come back. What is a HTTP? Madam, what is the port number, madam? 80. The port number is 80. So like HTTPS 443. 443. You guys can remember with 143, but it's not really 143. It is a 443. Right? So 443 is a port number for HTTPS. In HTTPS, it's going to attach this SSL certificate. You guys can watch it by simply going on any website. Simply here, you guys have watched it or not. There is a filter icon on your browser. If you click on it, it is going to tell that the website is secure or not. If you wanted to see that certificate, simply see this certificate is valid or not. If you click on it, you are going to know that certificate is from when it is going to be issued and when it is going to be expired. So all this information you guys can able to know it very easily. Sir, why we need to all these to know about it? Because these are very basic stuff. When you're working with any programming language, you need to be, because every transaction from one computer to the another computer, it is going to be secured by these SSL certificates. This SSL certificates. It can be through a browser or it can be through any another tool. Browser is also one of the tool to access your websites. Correct, right? That's only a software. So to do this, every transaction, because please remember, data analysts, data scientists, who's are going to be accessed in the future, the databases, every transaction means the connection is also transaction here that can be accessed via with the help of SSL certified encryption is going to be happen on your connection. Right? So this is going to be helpful. Sir, why can't we use the normal like HTTP? Why we need to use the HTTPS? Because the people, everyone wants to understand what the people are doing over the internet. So anyone can intercept your request. Let's say any two people are discussing between me and that guy, the third guy definitely will come and stand between us, try to hear what we are discussing. So means we never think like that guy is listening that. We'll go with that flow. So here also what we are sending a request from one computer to the another computer by using a third party computer or a third party network, I can able to hijack that request. Hijack that request. When I hijack it, I can able to understand what you're sending, what you are receiving. I can able to monitor. So to prevent that, what the people are come up with the solution here, that transaction like sending and receiving, they wanted to be encrypted. That encrypt will work by using this SSL certificate. When the request is going on to the server side, means from a front end, means client to this, means one computer to the another computer, the request is going to be encrypted. That can be decrypt happen on the another side, which the computer is going to be received by using the same certificate. The decrypt certificate will be there. With that only it is going to be decrypted. Means your message is never going to be read by someone else. So that's where this SSL, we call them as SSL certificates, are more powerful. It's not only on the web application side, it is everywhere, every connection. Every connection means from one computer to another computer. Right? So that's what you guys are going to be seeing in a real time to connect the databases via SSH. We will do that at the time. We will use the SSL certificates. Via, again, with the help of VPN, because companies are going to be monitor what we are typing, what we are doing, everything they will monitor via VPN. Right? So because whenever I was like 6 years, 7 years of experience, I worked with the network guy, because I'm a developer. That guy network, one of the friend is there. So I went there. He's watching all which computer, what they are opening, what they are doing. He's sawing. How he saw that, I never understand. Then after that, I discussed slowly. I become a friends by giving a chai and by giving a biryani. At the time, biryani is an emotion, obviously. By taking him to biryani, obviously become a friend. Then he started revealing this information, right? The VPN is going to be capture all your activity, including some of the VPNs have a beautiful feature called take a screenshots. So the companies are that much level, they will do the monitor on your computers. Don't take a light on this. Because I said, right, Zomato guy, what they did it. This is because this is the most important stuff. So this is a request is going to be happen from your mobile or website or from your desktop. send it over the internet and connect with the multiple servers, means multiple computers, try to get the content over here, right? So now let's try to understand in this the request how it will goes. Basic example I'm telling because you guys are very understand about these websites. In this HTTP, when you're sending this, we have a different types of is there for sending in the request is like a get, post, put. You may be heard about it, all this thing. HTTP methods, we call them as everyone have one purpose. Get is used for which purpose? Get the response from the second, means which computer we are asking, from that computer or from that server, try to get the response. For that we are going to use the get, means from the which computer we are requesting, from that we are not going to send any information, but we are going to be expect some information from which computer we are asking. That computer is going to give some information. That is the get request. And the path, you know that after the domain name, whatever the path you guys are, URL path, we call them as URL, means uniform resource locator. So this locator is going to be helpful to identify our program, to identify our program. So in that computer, the program will be there. So which program or which file has to be executed, which is going to be defined by using this path URLs or routers. We call them as routers. Here, the routers are going to be helpful to identify for every URL path, which program file it has to be executed, which is configured on the routers. So a lot of famous routers are there. Best example, Nginx, Apache, Tomcat. You may be heard about it. Anyone heard about it? Apache, huh? Tomcat, huh? So Apache, Nginx. Now in the market, the most toppest and more frequent, means most used one is Nginx. Nginx. So this is the best router in the market because it's have a proxy reverse, means proxy means there's a reverse way, means proxy means you guys knows it. So let's say I'm here, rather than working, someone is going to be work. So we call that guy as a proxy, is a hidden guy. So that Nginx have that feature, like you're going to be look like sending request to some another computer, but that proxy configuration is going to be changed, send it to the another computer. That's where the most of the hackers are going to be steal your information, look like sending into one computer, but from it is going to be redirected to the another computer. So that's what is happen on this routers. Now we are going to be sent, obviously everywhere the versions will be there. Currently in the market we have 1.1 and 2. 2 is a stable right now. HTTP 2 is using. H2 we call them as. Now another one is currently H3. People have started working on it. Some applications are using this H3. This versions is helping us to, on the browser side, download this request at a time parallelly. How many? Let's say for 1.1, you can imagine like it's parallelly it's going to send a request is 5, and H2 it can send it 10, and H3 it can send it like a 15 or 20. Means this is a way how these versions are helping on this HTTP side. How many requests can send it parallelly? How many requests can send it to the parallelly and receive it? That's both is going to be happen. The headers information, this is going to be hidden information to identify who you are, like what is this, which computer the request is coming, so from which domain the request is coming. All the information people are going to be send it to the server. This is going to be used by the firewall system, or these routers can identify to allow this request or not, will going to be helpful here. So the response is going to be look like this, right? It's going to be come with the status codes like a 200, 201, right? So 300, 301, 400, 404. You may be heard about 404 very well, which is saying that not found, right? 500 means server error, like this 300 means redirection, 200 means the request has been success. So means for every request, it's going to come up with the status codes that can be an error or something. we have 1.1xx, 2xx, 3xx, and 4xx and 5xx. These are the HTTP codes are there. You guys can download it, means you can go to the Google and then you can search it. You can understand all about it. So, and also it's going to be send a message saying that what the message, it can be HTML or it can be text or it can be CSS or it can be JavaScript or it can be JSON. So I hope you guys are aware about the JSON. So JSON is a key and value, like a dictionary. In your Python, there is a dictionary, key and value. So that's where it is going to be happen. So means from the server side, the people can be get it the response either any form of it, not only this thing JSON. So we can see in other application like XML, SOAP, like this SOP means rather than HTTPS, when you use the SOP, now no one is using, we were receiving the response as a XML format. XML format. So now all are gone in the market is most because most of the platforms are supporting and easier for parsing. Easier for parsing. Data parsing is becoming easier with the JSON. With the JSON. So that's what here. So because it's very simple, sir. Humans are very lazy, very, very lazy. And they want everything by writing in a single line code. Single line code, they don't want it to be write bigger lines of it. If you go with the Python, you need to be write a 200 lines, but if you use the if you go to the Java, you're going to be write a 200 lines, but the same logic you can write it in a Python by just writing a 10 lines. Because it's becoming easier. The library support or what they have it is a, you can say tremendously easier than the Python. That's how these languages are become a popular, these are become a legacy. The Java, .NET, all are become a legacy because of this reason. Because quicker and faster. Right? So the solution is going to be become a quicker and faster. Now, so you guys knows it about little bit about the Git. So GitHub, you maybe heard about it. I don't need to tell much about what is a GitHub, but I'm going to talk about the Git. I'm going to talk about the Git. What is a Git, sir? Git means GitHub.
Version control system.
Huh? Anyone heard about it? Git? Huh? Version control system, VCS. We call it as VCS. In VCS, we have a different types are there. This is comes, Git is comes under DVCS. This is a open source, which is invented by this Linux community because this is have a lot of story. It's very interesting story. Rather than focusing on social media, if you focus on these histories, you can find out it very well. So there is a conflict. Linux community in before like a 2000 at the time, they have all the free operating system. I hope everyone knows it. Linux is a open source. They need to maintain their operating system as a versions. Correct, right? To maintain it, they require a repositories. If the required repositories means repositories has to run a centralized storage or centralized computer is required somewhere else because from the worldwide people are trying to be downloading this operating system. So that's where what they wanted, some of the one company, I don't remember exactly, the company is giving a free, that repository maintaining, that server cost is giving by a freely. By using one old version is there, before the Git there is it, but it's have a lot of issues. Some conflict is happened, their agreement. I don't know exactly that conflict because in that article there isn't written much. Due to this conflict of this Linux community, that company, they did it right. They come out of it. The Linux community decided come out of it, and then they invented their own repository system called Git. But they implemented within a 1 year. This system they built it within a 1 year. It's a purely open source, and this is like extremely make it the entire world is like a shock because this is a game changer for all the problems, especially the company not able to understand the developer, especially corporate side, the company is never understanding this guy is coming. What is doing? No one is understood because the management is always non-technical. This guy still is working. How much of code he did it? Correct, right? So because how can I judge you? Because you're a good developer or bad developer, how can I judge you? Right? How much of code contribution he did it? We don't have that ability previously before 2000. Before 2000, but we can say this after 2001, they made this Git once is introduced. We have SVN, lot of stuffs before that, but 2001 is a game changer. This is came and then biggest threat to the developers. Developers, like definitely they came out of from the sleep and then they become an alert. Every day, what they are doing, they have to commit the code, means save it into the repository as a backup, and they need to be write it comments. How much of work they did it, they can able to monitor. How much of code contribution you did it, people able to understand by using this Git. So all these Git, so that's how you guys are seeing all the GitHub, Bitbucket, Gitflow, or GitLab, all our stuff, which is from a Git itself. So this Git is open source. Obviously, people started building the business over by using the Git. The GitHub, they built their own centralized data center to helping this community first as a free. Now it's become a commercial. I hope you guys knows it. It's a free only, but if you wanted to be used a private, you need to pay $5 per month. $5 per month per user. So similarly, Bitbucket and as well as GitLab. So all are using this Git technology only. So using this Git, if they are making business, obviously it's open source, but they build a data centers where they can maintain all the versions of the code. But sir, you can say this, the company itself not allowing or giving the source code to the outsiders, how they are giving the source code to these third parties? Simple question. That's right. How these companies are allowing to store their source code as a backup on the third party servers? Because GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab, they are using a beautiful mechanism where when they are storing, it is going to be encrypted. Even that company or company CEO or company developers of that, they can never going to be understand once it is encrypted. It is only decrypted when you use your authentication. So that is an advantage here. All the companies are believing that transaction always, if you wanted, you can do the audit by going or visiting that because you are one of the customers. They are allowing to do that because anyone they are saying welcome. There, when you do the audit, your code is going to be encrypted on their databases or in their storages. So that's a beautiful thing that is happening. That's how in the worldwide people are using the GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab. I hope you guys have heard about all these three Git providers. Git providers, right? So GitHub is it's a little have an advantage because the first starting onwards they given a free. Now also it's a free. Now also it's a free, but the repository should be public. The repository is going to be public. Now the GitHub is also implemented their own AI, you can say generative AI. So if you ask it, it is automatically generate the code because they have a lot of code with them publicly, and that code they are going to be used it to generate it. So that's always advantages, disadvantages will going to be there, a person and as well as a company. So this is what is going to be implemented in a real time. This is we call them as Git flow, right? The Git flow can be achieved any Git provider. Git provider can be GitHub, Bitbucket, or I can say which one? GitLab. GitLab. So here, let's say there's a branches. We're going to call them as branches. Under branches, we can have like master, main, or develop, stage, all the stuff that we can able to be send it to here, like you guys can see. Right from this Branch 2, I can able to deviate to this another small branch or a feature. So that feature I can able to write a code. I can commit so many things and submit it to for review. Someone means code reviewer, the developer or some code reviewer or team lead is going to saw that the code is correct or not. It's have any conflicts. It's a the code is not going to be work or not. Every discussion they are going to be do this according to this discussion. The developer again to modify that and give it that once everything is okay, there's a code reviewer is going to be merged into the master branch or main branch or develop branch or stage branch. That code is going to be deployed into the server. That we call them as pipeline. Via pipeline, the code is going to be deployed. So don't think it's a pipeline means the water is going to be there. No, it's not a water, sir. It's a code. It's a pipeline. What we are going to do, copy the code from this repository to another computer. That is a deployment. Deployment means copy the source code from here to means your local computer or a repository server from wherever you can copy into in another computer. That we call them as deployment. That copy is going to be happen there. So once it is, and then we are going to be restart the server, means restart the application, automatically server is going to be started. Means application is started means server is going to be started. Right? So once based on the request, it's going to be execute which program that is going to be defined on the routers. The router will going to be execute that specific program. Right? That program can be connect with the database without a connecting without a database. That all this thing is going to be happened. But this is I can simply say this. This is a killer for the developers. This Git is a killer. Killer the developer obviously, and as well as it's very helpful for the developer who's are good developers. Who's are good developers because I think like by showcasing how much of code contribution we are doing as a developer, we are trying to getting that much of hike. Right? So let's say if I'm a contributor of 60% on the project, I can able to get obviously 40 to 50% of hike per annum RMC. So that's where it is going to be. That's a challenging, obviously, but after this, I can say this: who was like managing people are reduced. Literally, managing people is a killer. Right. So now, just deployment. Correct, right? So what is mean by deployment? So this deployment, what is going to happen, sir? As I mentioned, this is an architect diagram, sir. We are need to be followed like this. Right? Let's say I'm deploying a Python application. That application I'm going to do this way. Let's say this is my computer. This is my computer. From my computer, I'm going to be send the request to this routers. That router here it is Nginx. That Nginx we can call them as web server or proxy server. It's have a both features. We can implement it very easily. And either by using a reverse proxy, we are going to be enter into WSGI. This is a backend, you can say a background service. A background service. This is a kind of a gateway. This is a gateway interface where it's helping us to connect it to this my Python application. Because my Python application has to be run frequently on the background. Best example I will tell you, you run a Python program, you close the terminal. What happens? Your program is stopped. Whenever you close this terminal, what has happened? It's a temporary. But I want it to be run continuously 24/7 my service, right? As a background service, then only it's be possible. So in that, the unicorn, not unicorn, unicorn, G is the small. So G is a silent. So this unicorn is going to be help us to connect it to my Python application. So here's the Flask. I use this framework, micro framework. I can say micro framework. Micro means small, right? It's very, very small, lightweight, and because it's not a super faster, uh, there is another micro application is there that we call them as fast API. We call it as fast API. That is also a framework. So what is this framework? How we are going to be, everything we are going to be known in the next session. But just I'm giving an idea about it. What is the deployment and all this basics about the applications, how it is going to be. On the next session, we are going to be continue this entire application practically. I'll going to develop it. So practically, I'm going to be develop it. In that, we are trying to connect with the database. The database is going to be on the server side. Let's take any cloud server. I'm going to be bring one beautiful cloud server for you guys like Azure or AWS. I'm going to show them and then I'll going to be create a deployment pipeline and then how to deploy it. Everything end-to-end process, right? So that session is going to be like around like a 2 to 3 hours, right? So try to be like, we'll conduct that on the next Saturday. So in the next Saturday, we're going to be discuss this entire setup process, right? From developing a small application. I'm not building any web application. I'm trying to build only the REST APIs. I hope you guys have heard about the APIs word, API. So I'm going to be build that API. So that API I'm going to be deployed. That API is going to be connected with the databases. That database is how to interact it. Generally, we use the word is CRUD. Correct, right? What is mean by CRUD? Create, read, update. So this all these four operations, how we can able to do it, I'll going to show it. We'll take one nice database. Let's take MySQL, SQL Server. Anyhow, you guys are going to be learn when you are have a modules. Let's start this time. Take a PostgreSQL. The database name is PostgreSQL, right? So this is also one of this good database like a open source. It's not a commercial database, open source. Most of the companies frequently used, right? So I'm going to take this database and how to access also I'm going to show it. Generally, maybe someone had a SQL. For them, they knows it. Workbench is the GUI tool for MySQL Server, SSMS for SQL Server, right? For PostgreSQL also, they are going to have one GUI tool, call them as PG Admin 4. PG Admin 4. I'm going to show that how to manage that databases, and that databases we can able to connect it by using a Python application. So I can take a MongoDB also, but I prefer let's go with the PostgreSQL. In the next session, if you have the time, then we can take with MongoDB with the Python also we can take it. So MongoDB is one of these NoSQL databases. I hope you maybe heard about it most of the people. But this time I'm going to taking the PostgreSQL. We'll try to build one application called authentication API. So this API is how we can able to test it out without using a UI. So by, let's say, there is a tool called Postman. There's a tool called Postman. So using the Postman, how we can able to send the request to the server, receive the response, that we can able to use it. So their entire process, as said, I'm going to be show you everything on the Linux. So everything in the Linux itself will write a coding, means non-GUI. We are going to be use the non-GUI, no GUI. So everything, I'll take a Ubuntu operating system. On the Ubuntu operating system, set up a PostgreSQL and set up our Python application and try to connect between these two and make sure this application become a live with the help of Nginx. So all these setup, again, we need to be run as a background service by 24/7. We are going to be use one of called WSGI service called Unicorn, right? By using the Unicorn, or sometimes people will call them this WSGI as a wheel service. What is the wheel service generally? What is mean by wheel? It's continuously running in the background, right? So that's what we are going to be do by using the WSJ or Unicorn, and are going to be use the Flask. Flask is very simple, sir. I'm going to be teach it. We can learn it within a 30 minutes. It's not going to take much time, right? So Flask, if you guys are good with the Python. If you guys are good with the Python, Flask is the very easiest because why we need it? Maybe data analyst may not be required, sir, but data scientist is must and should. Again, I'm telling data scientists who's taken the data science course, they need to know the Flask very well because in the market, current market, so everyone knows it how to build a model, but they does not know this how this model has to integrate with the platforms. Correct, right? You guys are going to build a model. That model, how it is going to be interact with the TV, how it is going to be interact with your mobile, how it is going to be interact with your browser. Means somewhere else you need to give this integration. That integration is so much powerful here, right? So that you can achieve it by using the Flask. By using the Flask means by creating the APIs, because most of the platforms or most of these other programming languages is going to be support or calling the APIs. Calling the APIs. I hope you heard about little bit what is the API. Correct, right? So this APIs, we can call it from any other programming language also. That's how microservices have become a more popular here, right? At a time, I can use it, let's say from Python to Java, Java to .NET, .NET to Ruby on Rails, right? Heard about it, right? Ruby on Rails, right? So all these are being connected easily with the help of APIs. So that APIs will going to be seen this. So please understand, especially data scientists who wanted to be integrated, right? So that for them is Flask is must and should. And when you're coming into this data analyst, how you guys can able to do it, let's say you guys can build a report by using a Python. So don't think the company is going to be asked you to develop by using a Power BI or an Excel or Tableau or a Looker or IBM Cognos or some other BI tool. Let's say my company is a startup, or my client is a startup, or my company or my wanted to be reduce their expenses. It's very common. Any company, it's a very common. They said that I'm a data analyst, then they're going to ask you, do you know the Python, right? Build the report on the Python. How you guys are going to do that? Python plus pandas. Definitely you guys are going to do this for all the transformation is pandas. After that, you are going to be send it to the visualization by using the Seaborn or Matplotlib. So you guys are did it. You created a report, means visuals that you need to be send it or share it via web or in a mobile app. How you guys are going to do this? Again, you need to create a small web application. So in this scenario, Flask is going to be very, very helpful for you guys where you can send it. I think Sir said is one more word is Streamlit. You guys can use it, the Streamlit, but the Streamlit is required the more resource power, because that application size is almost like 1 GB or 1 point around is there, Streamlit. So let's say if I'm take a one small server in a cloud, let's say it is going to come like a 10 GB plus 1 GB RAM, and then it is going to be a basic average bandwidth and a basic, rather than even you guys have i3, i2, there is a core to DO, such kind of a processor will be there. Per month, it is going to come around like 5 to 6,000 rupees bill. Correct, right? So now, obviously, I cannot encourage the Streamlit. Correct, right? So if I install the Streamlit, it is going to be consume my most RAM, then means 1 GB RAM is not sufficient. I need to run that application within a 1 GB. Means that computer is going to have only 1 GB. It has to that shared with the operating system and as well as my application. So there's a lot of stuffs will be there. But there's a internally we are going to show them, we are not going to be deployed, and Streamlit is the biggest useful tool. Very useful tool, the Streamlit. But only the problem is the size and computation power is only higher. So rather than I'm suggesting here, let's go with the Flask. Flask is very, very lightweight. So Fast API is so much very light, but we don't want it to be because Fast API is mostly used on the application side. But Flask is very easiest for you guys for on the data analyst side and data science side where you guys use it and integrate it and share with anyone. That's where you're making for data analysts save the money for their company, and data scientists can they prove them. Okay, I don't. I'm the currently in the market. The problem is data scientists. They know only how to build a model. After that, they doesn't care about it because that's their not job. Obviously, we need to say that that is not their job to this model to communicate with the other platforms. But here we need to be learn it, so that we are going to be learn it with the help of Flask, right? So here, but I wanted to be tell you one more thing before leaving the virtual environments. So before coming on to the next Saturday, you need to be aware little bit about the virtual environments. So what is a virtual environment, sir, here? Just now, sir starting said, right? What is a virtual environment? Different versions. Why we need to be, sir?
For some specific projects, we don't want to take the Python. We want to use the old Python.
Old Python. Why we can't be upgraded, sir? Simple, sir. Time and money.
It's a isolated environment.
Very simple, right? So let's say you build an application. Again, you want it to be rewrite, or when you are upgrading, obviously the features are same. No, the syntax may be little bit changes. Yes, new functions may be it is going to be added. The old function is become a deprecated. Deprecated means we cannot use those functions because there is no support, right? So all these reasons, right? So, and as well as there is a biggest problem is in one computer, if I maintain one version, what is going to happen? I cannot run this remaining projects with the old projects, or which is like advanced projects, which is developed by using a Python dev version or beta version, right? So a lot of reasons will be there. And also there is a one more problem here. It is, right? I cannot maintain at a time multiple versions. I can install that, but I cannot run the multiple versions at a time. So that's how people come up with the solution. Means it is there from a very long, but they made it mandatory from last 2 years onwards, right? If you want it to be, you need to be run, or you want it to be install any package, you need to be set up the virtual environment. You may be very habituated with by using a Jupyter notebook and all those stuff. It's already going to have all of the stuff. But here we are not going to be use any Jupyter notebook. We are going to be use .py files. .py files. Obviously, we need require such a kind of a environment. So this environment is a part of our project itself. That project itself, that entire Python and then Python related libraries which are going to be using on that project, which is going to be created on that particular folder itself. So let's say I can maintain it at a time 3.91 or 2.70. It's almost deprecated this Python 2.x. No one is using. But I can say this, some of the applications are still it is because it's a faster. Some obviously some features is not available on 3.x. So still we are using in the market Python 2.7. So maybe in a couple of years, Python 4 is going to be released soon. So that's a game changer again, the drastic change. So how we seeing for Python and Python 3, because Python means Python 2.x. Now we are calling Python 3 here. So Python 3 means 3.x. The Python 4 is a game changer here. It's going to have a lot of support. You guys are going to see in this. With the Python 4, we can build a mobile apps also. We can build a mobile apps also. That kind of a changes we are going to be seeing in the coming days. So that's kind of a stuff which happen. So everything I can say this a container. We can call it as properly a terminology is a container. The container is going to be contains and whatever the third party libraries you are going to be use it and then which version you are going to be use it and limited to that container only. To use this container, you need to activate. When you don't want it to use it, you need to deactivate. Very simple. To use those container, you need to be activate. Obviously, to activate, you need to go inside of that container. Without going inside of container, you cannot able to make activate. To come out of this container, you need to be deactivate. So such a kind of a thing is going to be happen. Best example. So you guys can see here for Windows to create that virtual environment, we are going to be use which one, sir? Python 3. Not Python, it's a Python 3. Python 3 space minus M or dash M. M means module. M means module. It's an option, right? In a Linux or in a anywhere. So mostly this command is going to be works on the terminal only. The terminal means non-GUI. So whenever we typing, this is a dash. If you mention anywhere in the dash, that we call them as options. Right? The option here it is minus M means module. We are trying to be pass the module. The module name is VENV. VENV. This is a predefined which is going to be available on that Python 3. VENV means virtual environment. So after that, you need to give that which virtual environment name you want it to be created. This is a name. This is a customized name. This is a customized name. We can give whatever the name we wanted, means the project name or project environment name, like project underscore dev, project underscore SIT, project underscore UAT, or project underscore prod. Like this also I can able to create, or my name or my girlfriend name or my ex, whichever I wanted, I can keep this. This is purely customized name. Purely customized name, but there is a preference. There is a preference. If you try to keep that virtual environment before name dot, try to keep it as a dot name. So why sir dot? Generally dot, any file or folder, if you have a dot, that we call them as hidden files. That we call them as hidden files. Means that is going to be ignored. In my project, I don't want it to be considered this container when I'm working with my files. Because that is a core. I don't want it to be touched. No one is going to be touched that one. Right? So I want it to be ignored. When I want it to be ignored, the folder file should be start with the dot. Right? So that's what the practice are going to be do by the developers here. So that's how there's a preference. That's your wish. If you want it to be added dot or not, that's no issue. If you're not adding a dot, it's not going to be cause any issue. But if you add a dot, it's going to be ignored. Let me try to show you how it will be. Right. So let's take a very small application. I have it here. Very small basic Flask application here it is. So I want it to be created. So now I'm going to be use the command Python 3. Correct, right? Visible, right? Minus M VENV, let's say dot text. I'm keeping this dot text. Now if I give this an enter, see it is a created the folder on the left side. So obviously what is the mindset of a developer here, if any file or folder have a dot, they're never going to be touched. They're trying to be ignore it. They're trying to be ignore it. And as well as my repository also going to be ignore it. My repository is also going to be ignore it here. Understood, right? So that I can able to do it a dot git ignore. What is that? Dot git ignore. So by using this dot git ignore, I can able to say this, the list of which are the files I wanted to be ignored. I can able to do this. Let me try to show this. See here, the people are trying to be add like the list of files and folders which we wanted to be ignore it. We are going to be mentioned automatically. My repositories are going to be ignore it without have a commit. So don't worry, in the next session means on the Saturday, we're going to show that how to commit to the repository, that repository, how we will going to do this, everything we will discuss very clearly. So now we can see, right? So this virtual environment is going to be helpful for me to create that within that project itself as a container, as a .txt. I can expand it and then see this is a folder. It is going to be contain this bin, include, lib, git, ignore, and all the stuff. So it is going to be little different for Windows and Mac or Linux. Right, for you guys, for Windows, it's going to be have a differently, the folder structure and the files is going to be have a different, because in Windows it's going to be .dll. If you're coming into the Linux and then Mac side, we are going to be use .so or .io files is going to be used mostly. Right, the format of the operating system files, I'm telling how it is going to be there. Right, so even when you're trying to install the operating system in Windows, you guys are going to have an extension .exe or .msi. When you're coming into the Linux or Mac, it is going to be .dmg. .dmg. Who have a Mac, they can understand .dmg. Right, so it is going to be little different for based on operating system. It's going to be changes, but please observe here under bin, I can able to see this, the pip commands and Python, which version it is, everything I can able to see it very clearly. And as well as I have a library where I can able to see which are the libraries has been installed in that container. What are the libraries has been installed in that container or for that particular virtual environment, that we can able to see by using the command called pip space list. Pip space list. Here I can able to see what are this currently available on this container. Right, so next let's try to see this. If I wanted to be add anything, like let's say I wanted to be use this requirements.txt file. So requirements.txt file, right? So this requirements.txt file, it can able to help us to which one, sir? To maintain my libraries. To maintain my libraries for that particular project with the version. With the version. Generally, to install any package, what you guys are going to do, pip install package name, which is going to be fetched from pypi.org. This is a website you guys can visit any point of time by going pypi.org. This is where you can guys can search it all the packages which is available. This is currently have like 6,41,785 projects, means this many libraries is available here. Right, so this kind of a stuff, like how many releases, how many files, and how many users are contributing, you guys can search it and then you can able to be find out your documentation also. Let's say example pandas, you guys knows it very well, right? Let's say if I try to search it, it is going to show me that pandas related who's are contributed here. We can able to see this, and I can able to see this which version it is. Like currently it is a 2.2.3. We can able to see this release history also. What are the previous histories, like when they committed, which like what are the all the history also we can able to see this. And who is the maintainers? These are the contributors for this to create this library. We can able to see their profiles. Obviously, if you wanted to become a good Python developer, try to be a contributor for pypi.org. Your profile is definitely in the next level. Your profile going to be on the next level. So obviously, everyone wants the money. No one don't want it to be do for free. Correct, right? So at least try to maintain those uh, libraries, whatever you guys wanted to be build it as a private, as a private. So at least that is going to be very useful when you are working in a real time, right? That can be reusable very quickly. You don't require a chat GPT, DeepSeek, or Gemini, or Copilot. Correct, right? So you can do it by yourself when you have a time. Just focus on a little bit. It's very easy. It's not more complicated. So I have almost like 1,400 libraries I created for myself. I kept it in my repository. Whenever I wanted, I can use it very simply. It's very simple, right? So that way we can able to make our life is easier. Cut, right? The people can ask to develop something. I can reuse that library. Meanwhile, I can watch in the Netflix as a nice romantic web series. Cut, right? That's what the people will do when your experience is growing. Right? So that's how we'll tell like whatever you wanted to do it, do this before 30. And after 30, you guys can go RMs and nice pubs, nice vacations, but don't do this before 30. After 30, its life is very beautiful than this before 30. That I can believe. But I'm telling this is right. So don't waste your time. Like focus on this creating this libraries. And these libraries is going to be very helpful. You can keep it as a private itself. You don't need to be published or you don't want it to be contributed to anyone. So this reusable code is going to be very helpful when you are working in a real time. Very simple now. So you're making your life easy because in a real time there's a sprint concept will be there. So mostly it is a sprint means 14 days. Most of the companies follow the same, but some companies will follow differently. Some companies follow 1 month, some companies follow like a 2 weeks like this. But let's say most of the standard companies follow sprint means 14 days. So if it is a company's 5 days working, it's exactly 2 weeks, 4 days. 2 weeks, 4 days. Correct, right? If it's a 5 days working means every week 5 days, right? So 10 days, 2 weeks, and remaining 4 is going to be third week. So on the third week, fifth day is a free day. No work actually. No one is going to be in the corporate side. We're never going to be work on the fifth day every third week. But we know that how the situation is well. So always whatever we plan never going to be happen. So we need to work that day also to complete our pending sprint task. Right? Whose are completed, then you guys can enjoy the fifth day and sit with the managers and plan for next sprint what we need to do that. Means that way you can interact with your superiors, managers, and that way you can showcase you are a very deliverable person, you are a time person. So that way they'll get a good impression. So why will need to impress the manager? End of the day hikes are. End of the day for hike. Obviously, everyone wants minimum 30%. Minimum, I said, correct, right? Otherwise, we cannot survive in the market. We need a car, we need a everything, right? We need apartment, we need a girlfriends. Correct now? Yep. So agree, right? So that's how. So that's how. So whenever you guys have a time, try to build your own libraries. But think about it when you're building your libraries can be reusable in your real-time work. So you need to be planned for ahead, like a next to 2, 3 years. In the next to 2, 3 years, what you wanted to be become on that you need to be. So that's how Python definitely in the next 4, 5 years is going to be rule this entire market. Maybe I'm expecting JavaScript also, maybe the second one, the UI, because JavaScript is almost there. Even the mobile apps also building by using a JavaScript nowadays. So maybe you guys can, because I'm building that by using a JavaScript itself. So that's how it's becoming easy. So these two languages are going to be ruled. One is JavaScript, another one is Python. So in this scenario, obviously you need to be either try to understand whichever the available libraries, because these are all open source. You guys can download it and then you can see that review how they're written. So let me show you. So let's say there is an option called download files. You guys definitely can download it on your local and then you guys can use it, right? And there is a documentation, have a repository called, if you guys are click on it, you guys can see this entire source code of that library. Entire source code of that library. Correct, right? So from this pypi.org, I looked on the library, I find out the library and came here, and then I can see this library source code. If it's very useful, I can download it and keep it myself as a archive. Correct? Or else I can sit some time and then go through this every file and then try to understand how they are written. How they are written. So let's say if you guys have seen it. So let's say if you go to here, pandas. So they are written so many, correct, right? And go to the core and see this for arrays, correct, right? Group by. So who's are completed the pandas, they can understand that group by function. For the group by function, they created how many? How many files they created? Can we count it? Correct, right? See, it's look like the function is very easier for us, but library is making our life is easier because it need to cover all the 360 degrees use cases. It has to be. So that's how the libraries are so much powerful, sir. Reusability concept, simple reusability concept. Whenever you guys have a time, just try to go through it. Understood, right? So now let's see this. Whatever we mentioned, the requirements.txt file, try to be install it by using pip install -r or -r. So requirements.txt. So what is saying here, sir? It's showing the warning. As I mentioned, right, from last couple of years, they are saying means Python 3 is not allowing to install any packages directly on your operating system. They are preferring to do by using the virtual environment. Correct, right? I created a virtual environment, but I'm not inside of that virtual environment. If I'm inside of that virtual environment, I can able to perform this installation. So let's jump onto this. How we can do that? Source. Here little bit different, sir. This is a Mac. So source, the environment name dot test bin activate. Now, if I click on this enter, the left side you guys can see very clearly it's showing as I'm inside of the container. Now, once I'm inside of this container, what I can do? I can perform my installation. So now let's see here. Pip install -r. So by using this -r, r means relative path. Relative path. The relative path is going to be requirements.txt. Means I'm saying that I'm in the Python underscore app. So from here, my relative path means try to look the requirements.txt. Now, if I click on this enter, it's trying to be fetch all the dependency libraries which are mentioned with the versions or without versions. If I'm not mention any version, it is going to be fetch the latest version. So now let's test it out. Is installed or not by using the pip space list. Previously we have 3 or 4. Now the list has been increased. Understood, sir? Now to come out of this container, we are going to be use the deactivate. Understood? So this is what is going to be happen here. So that's what here. With Windows, it's going to be little different. What is that? Dot slash dot means relative part. Again, relative from means current directory. From current directory, the environment name, scripts, activity. But in the Mac or Linux, it's going to be source, venv, bin, activate. After that, you guys can do this pip install -r slash requirements.txt. So this is where this is a setup. Just try to be aware about it. You try to practice it, right? So on next Saturday, I'm going to be create a one application on the session itself. And after that, we are going to be set up WSGI and Nginx, and then try to make a live, how to make a live, and we can able to test all those things by using a Postman. Postman is another software tool where it is going to be helpful to test out the APIs. Right? So all this process we can see on the next Saturday. Understood, sir? So please try to explore it a little bit, whatever I mentioned today. And next week it's going to be a little hard, means it is going to be have more technical knowledge like a port numbers, URLs, SSL certificates, Nginx configurations, YAML file, .env environments. So many steps are going to be there. So just try to explore it a little bit. It become an easy for you. Okay. Okay.